Hello, welcome back to Katie's Style channel over on YouTube. If you like what you're watching today, please like, subscribe and share, and I hope it's really useful to you. And if you've got any questions, pop them in the link below, and if you want to see any more like this and give me some ideas, then I can do that too. Just comment below. So today we're going straight in with an eye makeup look. I've had some colour analysis clients today, and I always tend to do makeup in those sessions. And I've also had a makeup lesson this week. And quite often after I've seen a lady and taught her a few tips and tricks, they'll go away excited and maybe with a lot of information to process. And they say, oh, I could really do with some extra help on an area of their makeup. And I say, well, let me do it as a YouTube video for you and I can share it. So specifically we're doing just a natural eyeshadow look today. I'm going to work on one side of my face, then I'll head over to my Facebook private group page, which is Katie's Style Hub, where I will do the other eye from all my community over there. So let's get started. I've already got a primer on, I put my CC cream on and under eye corrector. And when I'm doing it, I make sure that I start on my face, working on my cheeks, and then the excess, whether it be the primer or the foundation, just coats across the top of the eyes. I haven't put any powder on my eyes. You'll also notice, and we are all the same, that one eye, when you look really close, looks slightly different to the other eye. So for me, it's this one which is starting to become more hooded. And just for me, is always a little bit more closed up in pictures, which, you know, other people looking at you won't notice these things. We are not symmetrical. When we talk about eyebrows, we say they are sisters and not twins. So don't worry too much. And I am going to apply, I think today I will try and apply my look to, oh, should I go with a closed eye, see if we can make it more open? Let's give that a go. Right, so, and I had a bit lippy on. In fact, I'm just going to put some lip balm on. There you go, better. So, first step is making sure you've got a selection of brushes. Now, years ago, I used to think I can do what I need to do with just one or two brushes and my fingers. And there's a lot you can do with that. But having the right brushes will make a difference. So if you're following along today and you want to have a play and a practice with your own makeup, make sure you've got a nice, big, fluffy brush. Make sure you've got, and this is also sort of a fluffy, it's a little bit smaller. One or two is good, but you can do it with one. We're going to use a crease brush or something smaller with a bit more precision to it. And then we're going to have, you can see this is my one I've been using this week, a flat-ended brush like so. If you don't have that today, you could use a Q-tip. And then if you've done your foundation with a sponge or a makeup brush, have it to hand. It's easy to forget this, but I always set my foundation with a tiny bit of translucent lightweight powder. If you can save that until after, it means you can wipe away and clean up and reapply your foundation a lot easier if you get any fallout. And then we're going to need some eyeshadows. So today I'm using my Biscotti, the crystalline, and I think in here I've got cashmere haze, but a warmer one would be hazelnut. So often on a day I would use the dusty pink as well, or instead of. And then I've got a couple of eyeliners to show you, not the one I wanted to show you. And then I'll talk a bit about eyebrows. I'm going to use this little eyebrow palette, but we'll go into that a bit later because we can talk about pencils and eyeshadows as well. So first up, get your skin colour. So for me, it's this one. For a darker lady, I also have the hazelnut, works as a really nice nude on the eyelid. And we're going to take the big fluffy brush and we're going to fill it up with that colour. Maybe just gently tap off any excess to stop it from falling out. And then start to, oh, I've gone in the wrong eye. I'm going to carry on in this eye anyway, but you should see the effect. So, and I am cheating just a tiny bit because I know this eye is already a little bit open. But this is called a transition colour. It's a nude and we need to be highlighted up here and, you know, lighting up that area of the brow bone anyway. But by popping it on all over, we're going to allow the rest of the powder to blend a lot easier, especially if you're slightly oily. Also, if you're doing an evening look or you want things to pop a bit more, you can always start with either a coloured eye primer or, like I said, a little bit of face primer that's gone all over, and then a tiny, tiny bit of concealer, which I would put on with a brush and then pat back and make sure you don't leave a thick, heavy layer there. Keep it really fine if you're going to put concealer on your eyelid. So we've gone in with this, we've popped it on all over, all over, I can't talk today. And now we're going to go in with the same brush or slightly smaller one. And this is controversial. This is how we used to do it. It's slightly different now. Whether or not you put this shade on first or second. Oh, that's quite sunny, isn't it? So whether you put this on first or second, I'm going to put it on first just because that's habit, but you can go back in with it after to, again, help with blending and tidying up. So take your mid colour or your shimmer. We're going to pop it in here. I'm going to start looking in the mirror now so I can see what I'm doing. And just layer that gently. Hopefully, I'll pull myself closer. Hopefully you can see, and we'll put it back out and look at the difference when we've finished. So the other thing you might notice is I'm patting and pushing it into the skin, just gently, but if you've especially got a lot of lines and movement going on the lid here, I've got a little bit, not too much yet, you might find that you put it on and then you can see areas of the skin that have not been covered. So by gently patting and pushing into the skin, you know you're getting a good coverage. You can also take it at this point into this area here, and that's going to just lift and highlight and open up the eye. Now obviously eye shape will make a difference to how you apply this. I'll try and bear that in mind when we're talking. If your eyes are already very wide set apart, you're not going to necessarily want to do this here and open them up anymore because they're already quite open. So, and again, if they're quite small and close together, then this is a really good tip for you. So I've just put a nice fine layer down here, and it's just, you know, if you're very natural, you might pop an eyeliner on and off you go. But as I say, we're trying to open up the eye. So the next step is already starting to open and lift and brighten. The next step is to take your precision crease smaller brush, okay? And we're going to tap into your darkest shade you're using today. And we're just going to use 3 colours, although I can show you how to add an extra colour. And so you can see I'm tapping it in on the brush, and again, tap off the excess. The reason being, once you start to apply it, you can build, but if you whack in a load of colour straight away, it's really hard to then take it off and buff it back. So it's easier to build. So we're going to tap off the excess, and these are quite highly pigmented, so I just don't want to go in too heavy too soon. So I'm going to look at my eye now and look at where the lines are. So here you can see an example of where eyeshadow should be. It should be inside this space. It shouldn't come out and down here. This includes the eyebrow. So I'm going to use this line in my mind's eye, and I'm going to sort of head towards the eyebrow. And I always say it's like doing a big giant Amy Winehouse flick. You're not trying to achieve a flick, but you're just trying to get placement of product up against the eyelash there. Then you're going to take a little bit more of the product, and for me, look down and look for this shadow. So where I'm starting to get a little bit more hooded, you'll notice the crease is now down here. I don't want my crease down here. I want it back up here where I can feel the brow bone underneath the sagging skin. So I'm going to bring it up here, and at this point let's just go for a little bit. So you might notice we've created a C or a banana or a V shape, and we've plonked it on. Look, it's all over the show. That is okay at this stage. You're going to now come back to your fluffy brush, and you're going to actually, we could go with this one, and you can dust off the excess of that light powder, but we're going to start taking circle motions, blending out. My husband's coming in. Hopefully he doesn't say anything rude because I'm doing a video, and hopefully he's going to notice that I put the kettle on and he's going to make coffee. So you can see all that scary eyeshadow that's been splodged has now been blended out, buffed out, and is naturally sitting really nicely. And hopefully you'll also notice it's starting to open the eye up. I remember someone once saying this is a valuable runway here. So you want to keep this area light if your eye is starting to hood down. If you are hooded, don't be afraid of trying this. The idea is it is going to open it up, and you can still wear eyeshadow. You just need to think about where you're placing it. Also at this point, if you have got really hooded eyes and you go, there's no point, don't forget that as I'm talking to you, I'm creating different facial expressions, I'm blinking. You're seeing a lot more of the eyelid than I am when I just look in the mirror like this. So don't be put off if you've got a slightly hooded eye or a really heavy hooded eye, give it a go. So I'm just going to come back in with the same brush. I've not filled it up anymore, and I'm going to add a little bit more depth because I want a bit more. And I'm also going to start blending it into the colour that's on the lid without coming over too far. Everything needs to blend and be soft. So now I'm going to go back in with the fluffy, keep blending, blending, blending. And you want this colour and this colour to blend so you can barely see a line. That's going to help keep it natural. There you go, can you see? And we're still within the space I recommended. We're not coming out and down. If you are coming out and down, the reason we've got our sponge and our brush to hand is that you can give it a gentle wipe up and clean that area up like so. So you might want to go back in with this. You might not have done this as a second step. It might be your third step, but you can come back in, plonk a little bit more of that highlighter on the lid. We're bringing out the light areas and pushing back the shadowy areas. So we're just mimicking nature, but placing those shades and lights where we want them to help lift and open. So now we can blend it all together and stop there. What can we do next to help open and lift? So colour's really key here as well. When we're wearing the wrong colour, I talk all the time about how it can be heavy and it can create shadows and it can make us look older and increase fine lines. And the same applies with your makeup colours as well. When you come for a colour analysis or just a makeup lesson, I always add in an element of colour analysis to help guide you in the right shades for you. So let's go in with some eyeliner. I really wanted to use my grey eyeliner today and I don't know where I've put it. So I've pulled out a couple more options. I have got my brown, which is absolutely fine for me, but the grey is just a bit better. This is great for all our warm ladies. The grey is good for all our cool base ladies. And I have this one, which is a bit controversial because I was going to do a natural eye look and now I'm playing with teal. But I'm actually going to show you teal because it's a really good colour for everyone. Mary Kay call it emerald, but I've compared it to all the other teals I've had in the past and it's almost identical. So we're going to use this today and I'm going to show you where to place it. But the colour itself is just going to help your eye ping. So don't be scared of it if you've never used it before. So where are we going to place this? Again, if you've got a slightly more hooded eye, you don't want to take up too much of that runway space with a thick, heavy line. So to start with, you want to make sure you're going up and into the waterline, tight line. Don't come all the way across unless you have a really big eye. If you have a smaller eye, keep it out to the right, no more than 1/3 of the area. And I'm tickling right up into the lashes as well to make sure I get good coverage. So you can see I'm starting to thicken the lash up without creating too much heavy darkness around the eye, which is going to close it up. So at this point, if you want to add a little bit on the top line, you can. We're going to go in again, probably even 1/5. It's almost like 2 dots worth, and I'm tickling really close up to the lash line, and it could be a bit of a mess at this point. It's fine. These are all waterproof, so they're really great products that last ages, but they also are really smudgeable when you first use them. So next up, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, make sure you don't leave it at that step and you blend it out. It's going to really help to soften the look. Hopefully you can start to see my eye open even more at this point. Now you can take a tiny bit of what's left on here and just tickle underneath. I can also see that eyeliner's just moved down onto the lower lash whilst it's setting, so we want to remove that from here. There you go, because that's going to close the eye up, putting it down here. So just take a little bit here, smudge it out. If you want to put a little bit of eyeliner here and smudge it out as well, you can, but because of my lightness, you can already see the colour. Thank you for my coffee. If you want to add a flick at this point, and you might go, oh, I'm a bit scared, I don't like to do a flick. There's a couple of ways you can do it, and you can go on YouTube and find videos everywhere, but here's some of my top tips. So I'm going to take this eyeliner, which at the moment is going to be very smudgeable, and I'm going to pop a little bit right in the corner here and plonk it on. And then I'm going to take my finger whilst it's still smudgeable and just do this, and it's going to create a teeny impression of a flick and put it in a really good place. Also, another thing to remember is stop using the top line and flicking up. Don't pull your skin, because when you let go of the skin, it drops into a different place to where you think you've placed the eyeliner. But once you've got this flick, you can go in, or remember we're using the lower line. So I'm curving like this, like this, like this. I want to follow the line up like so. So again, in my mind's eye, I'm going to think about where that is, and I'm just going to place a tiny little flick, and then I'm going to join it over here like so. So you don't need a huge flick, to lift and open. Everything needs to be placed higher, lifting, going upright. That's all going to lift. If your eyeshadow and eyeliners come down and round, you're going to be pulling your face down and round. And most of the time we don't really want that. So next we're going to go in with the mascara. I always say at this point to ladies that if you're practicing your makeup or you're trying something new or you're just doing your makeup in the day and you get halfway through and you go, oh, it doesn't look right, I don't like it, and you start taking it off. Stop, don't take it off. Finish it completely. Finish the eyeliner, the mascara, the eyebrows. You can't judge a look until it's finished. And then if it's finished and you're really unhappy with it, you can take it off. So today I am using the Ultimate Mascara. Hopefully there's some left in it. And have a look at what I'm doing and where I'm placing the mascara. So I've been watching someone and getting some sneaky tips off them as well. And one thing this lady has been saying is to keep the mascara in the middle. You don't need to bring it out around here or inside. Keep it in the middle and keep on applying it and pushing it up. And if you keep applying and pushing it up whilst the product is wet and setting, you're more likely to create lift than just plonking it on and running off. So if you've got time, wiggle all the way up to that lash line. Wiggle it out. You don't need to come back down. If you're wiggling it up, then those bristles are getting both sides of your lashes. Just make sure you're doing it right from the tip all the way to the end. So you should be able to see, starting to push the lashes back and the product is starting to set and you get a lift without faffing around with the overly expensive mascaras. Now, some people like to leave it at this point. If you've got quite a small eye, you might want to not go on the underside. If you do the same thing. Keep it in the middle. And I don't need to continue to do that for too long on mine because they're already long and I don't want them to hit my face. But if they did hit the face, if you did get mascara on your eye, top tip is to just wait a few minutes, let it set. Don't forget it's there like I do. Grab a Q-tip, which I don't have to hand, and twist and run it over. Instead of pulling it off, smearing it off, spreading it across the face whilst it's wet, or taking makeup away from underneath. Oh, there goes my battery and my light. Is it going to come back for me? No, let me press pause and sort the light out. Okay, back again. I have my little table light here and it is plugged into a laptop. That's how it runs. It's just a USB and the laptop just ran out of battery. So I've had to plug the laptop in to plug the light in. Technology, hey? So as I was saying about mascara, you're going to roll the Q-tip over it and gently move to one side and you should be able to pick it up off the skin without ruining anything underneath. So next up, hopefully again you can start to see it's really lifting and opening and this is feeling more tired and closed. So let's go in with the eyebrow. What do we think so far? Great. Okay, now where was I? Eyebrows. So you can use a pencil. I haven't got the example with me, but we do a pencil which is skinnier than this. It's called a precision brow, and it'll be half the size of that. And the idea is that the skinnier and the harder the pencil, the easier it is to draw lots of little lashes. You can use your finger to rest at this point. And I'll show you in a second where we're going to place it. But you're just going to mimic what you have. So if you've got big, wild, lovely eyebrows, you can just gently go over and add a little bit of definition. An eyebrow is going to frame the face and really open it up. So let me show you. Let's make a little space so you can see. Everything I do with this, you can do with a pencil. You could just have a brush similar to this and use your eyeshadow. So this is an angled flat brush and I have a similar one within my makeup brush set and I would use this colour, and if you were slightly warmer and a blonde and you had the hazelnut, I would recommend that one for you. Also to note, there are two blondes for all us blondes out there. One is warmer, one is cooler, because I know people like me who are on that cooler side, or maybe you're more on the grey side, struggle to find a pencil that is not too golden for them, and then you look a bit weird like you've got some orange on your face. So I can recommend that for you. On this occasion I'm going to use this one, which was a limited edition. There might be some left, I'm not sure. I have tweezed these a little bit. I actually quite like to go once or twice a year and either get waxed or threaded eyebrows, and then I tend to try and stay on top of them. Now I've got quite fair ones, you can see they're hardly there, but start by brushing them up. Everything is going to be about that upward motion, and we need to see the underline at this point. So again, I'm going to try and come in even closer now so you can really see what I'm doing. So here we have a wax, a powder and a highlighter. I've not really used this highlighter much. I might do at the end of here just to see if it makes a difference, but I'm not too interested in that. And I have a similar one in my eyeshadow palette. Sorry, I keep looking in the wrong place. So let's take the angle. I'm going to go in with the powder today. It's slightly lighter, it's more natural. And we're going to tap into it like so. Tap, tap, tap. And I'm going to take my mirror so I can show you and see at the same time. So we are going to start from the underside and we're going to draw a line up, but we're going to end up on the top line, okay? So from the underside to the top to that high point there that's naturally already there, okay? Then I'm going to go in with a little bit more and I'm going to find the top line and just meet it across here. Now without adding any more to the brush, I'm going to start filling in the areas and start creating that sort of pretending to draw lots of little brows in, if you like, in that upward motion, just following the direction the hair already is going, okay? I'm going to take a tiny bit more now, and I can see, remember we're following that roll here where the eyebrow finishes no lower than here. And I'm going to start on the top this time, and I'm going to draw the top to the bottom, and then I'm just going to fill the gap in between. Then I'm going to grab my spoolie, that's what these are called, and blend and brush up. Now this is a great point to start doing tweezering, but it's not as hygienic as doing it with clean skin. But at this point I can really see where there are random hairs, so you may want to have your tweezers at hand, but just gently blending them out. If you've got any more gaps, you could go in with the wax at this point. The wax just helps to give a bit more definition, a bit more colour, and set them. So I'm just going to go over like so, more to distribute the wax. If you get any colour on the skin where you don't want it, you just gently scratch it away with the brush. So there we have it. We almost have done it. I'm going to go in with that setting powder, add a little bit more colour to the lip, because that's going to help make my eyes pop when I wear the right colour lipstick. And then, like I say, let's go back in with the brow colour. See if we can add a little bit more highlighter and definition. Also for clean up as well. If you want to clean up any of that eyeshadow, we're just going to run it underneath like so. There you have it. Do you think it looks more open? Let's make sure there's nothing in here. No. If I have got one somewhere from Zayo, Mary Kay Don't Do One. If you've got a light cream eyeliner here, that's another thing to try. So let me go see if I can find it and be back in a second. No joy on the white eyeliner. Can't find it anywhere. So, but you can get the idea. If you add a layer of cream or white into this inline here, then you're also going to add more openness to the eye. I hope you've enjoyed that. As I say, any questions, pop them below. If you're interested in getting any colour matching for your makeup, or you need any advice on skincare, drop me a message. I'll leave my Mary Kay shop link in the comments below, and I look forward to catching up with you soon. Please don't forget, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time at Katie Style. Bye for now.